Hello again, my name's T and today I'm going to be taking you through the basics of synthesis in Operator. So Operator is one of the instruments that you can get in Ableton. It's just one of the basic synths, but it has a lot of free reign for you to sort of edit and create the sounds that you want. So what I'm going to start is by describing pretty much the operation window, I guess. Unfortunately I can't make that bigger for you. It's just a thing with Operator, it won't enlarge. So on this side, on the left hand side, you have your oscillators and you have level, fine, which tunes your sort of oscillator, and coarse, which edits it as well. What you see in the center is what parameter you have selected. So at the moment I have the track selected, but if I click over here on the LFO, I'll be able to, or filter, the center screen will change to that. So the first thing I'm going to go through is sort of different things. So for an oscillator you can choose different sort of waveforms. I'm going to stick to sine just because it's a nice simple sounding thing. A sine wave has no harmonics, unlike square waves or triangle waves. You can either choose a waveform or you can draw in your own harmonics as well, which tends to sound terrible, so let's have a listen to that. Sorry, no, like that. Yeah, that's not nice, so let's go back to sine wave. A lot more pleasant. So you have your level here, up and down, fine, which will tune it, and coarse, which kind of makes it sound like R2-D2. The operator that I want to show you is the envelope. This allows you to really adjust the way the sound sort of reacts. So you have your attack, sustain, decay, and release down here. So editing different ones of these parameters will change the way your sound is. So at the moment, it's a very short attack and a bit of a nice sustain and release. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change and I'm going to extend the attack time so you can hear what that sounds like. It takes a little while for the sound to actually reach its full point. Okay, and also I'm going to extend the release and it will sound a bit more like... I've extended that too far, it didn't reach a release point, but you get the basic idea that you can grab these points, edit and change the way the sound forms. It's really interesting. Okay, that's really cool. Okay, so I've done some cleaning up on my session and I'm just going to show you how to create a basic vibrato effect, which is pitch modulation in Operator using an LFO. So one of the first things you want to do is you need to make sure that you turn your LFO on, which is this button here, and you also need to set a destination for it. Right now I'm setting it to the oscillator on channel A, and that can be decided by clicking any one of these lettered buttons down here. So at the moment it's got a pretty fast attack. I think, we're on the oscillator. So, no, we're on the LFO. I always get terms confused. I'm kind of new to this. So it got a very fast attack and a pretty fast release there as well. So if I play that now, it's going to sound like this. And you can alternate certain things with that by adjusting the rate. And mount, which will increase. So the rate will increase how often it modulates, and the amount will increase by how, or decrease how much it modulates. So there are a few other things you can do with it. So let's have a look at what happens if I increase the attack time here. Just going to increase the amount a bit more so it's more obvious. Move that back. As you can notice, it takes a little while to take effect. The other thing that you'll notice is release time. So if I press this button, hang on, I need to increase this decay on my oscillator over here to fully demonstrate how this works. So let's increase that. Now that's far too long. Alright, see how that's got a bit of an extended release on there? So now when I put the LFO on there, you'll notice a certain thing happens. See how that just returns to a plain sine wave? Well, the plain sort of oscillated sound. That's because of the release time on the LFO. So there are certain things you can do to change that. You can change the end to 0, and it will there we go. It will continue modulating right till the end of the release. The other way you can do this is by clicking down here and changing it to infinite. So I had it on 0 before, which was, it will keep sustaining. But I'm just going to turn that back to infinite by selecting the area and pressing delete. And I'm going to try and match my release time to the release time of my oscillator over here. So if we go over and have a look, right now it's on 1.77 seconds. So I'm going to go over here and I'm just going to extend that till it's pretty close. That's still on milliseconds. Going to go up. And I'm just going to type that in from here. Okay, it still wants to move back to milliseconds, so I'm just going to have to sort of bodge it up and get as close as possible. Oh, it's still in milliseconds too. Alright, go up to here. Alright, there we go. And so your LFO modulation will decay at the same rate that your oscillator does. So it kind of matches up together and creates a bit of a different effect there. Okay, so before I showed you how to create a simple vibrato effect with operator, and now I'm going to show you how to create a very simple tremolo effect with operator. So the difference between vibrato and tremolo, just in case you don't know, vibrato is modulation of pitch, whereas tremolo is modulation of volume. So what we're going to do is to change our operator so it is working on tremolo. I've changed the waveform to a square wave, so this is what it sounds like with vibrato. Okay, and now just to change that over to a tremolo effect, all you have to do is go down to here, destination B for your LFO, and choose oscillator volume A because that's the oscillator that I am setting the LFO to operate on. So I choose that and go. And now I have more of a beep. I'm just going to turn that down. And you have an old sort of like telephone of look sound. And of course, as with the other effect, you can play around with the envelope of that shape as well. But there's one other thing I want to talk, well, not one other thing, another thing I want to talk to you about is retrigger, which is this little R button here. So whenever I press a sound at the moment, it's starting at various points in the waveform and continuing on from the last note that was pressed. So it will join from the same spot. I will show you with the sine wave because it might be more noticeable. Whereas if I turn retrigger on, it will bring back this new note to the same spot in the envelope, the beginning of it, so everything's starting on the same on or off position. It helps if you turn it on. Compared to both, which can have really cool effects. So the other thing you can do with your LFO is you can assign it to the cutoff filter for your oscillator. So right now I've just done some brief sort of setting up of that. I have a cutoff filter around here. I'm just fucking around with whatever makes a cool sound. And so, to make your LFO operate on the filter rather than your oscillator, go to the LFO menu, and you can either unclick your oscillator and click your filter over here, or you can choose your destination B and choose frequency filter. Either is an acceptable workflow. So I'll show you what that sounds like right now. Stuff like that. I think I worked out how they made the Skype sort of call incoming sound. Anyway. Oh, and there is one last thing about that that I forgot to mention before. See this little L here? This decides what frequency your oscillator your LFO operates on. So right now it's responding to low frequencies, which will create different sort of sound effects. I'm going to change that to high, and it will oscillate faster. That was actually terrifying. Alright, yeah.